What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building. You feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks. All right, let's get straight right into it. So you already know, man. Obviously, the Celtics beat the Heat in an epic Game 7. In another Game 7 round matchup. They came off a second round matchup versus Bucks, and then obviously seven game second conference finals matchup versus the Heat. And you knows what Elite looks like. They took a tough road, obviously, having to go through KD and Kyrie. You know how their defense was. Again, stay tuned. That video is probably gonna come after the finals. I'm collecting data as we speak. You know what I'm saying? As these games happen, I'm collecting data to expose narrative. So that's probably gonna be a long series. But anyways, forget about that. But second round again versus Giannis. Granted, he didn't have Middleton, but again, it's still another top player. People say he's the best player and stuff like that. So going through that as well too, and then going through Jimmy Butler when Jimmy Butler in the playoffs is a superstar. You know what I'm saying? So the best team in the East, right? So it's just a tough road. It's a tough road. It didn't take no easy way out. You got to give credit and tip your hats off and give credit where credit is due. To the Celtics and to Udoka, where he didn't dodge no smoke, and you could just tell who was cut from a different cloth. Udoka played in the era when there was Kobe's and stuff like that, where it was nitty gritty, tough defense, physicality, etc. So he's coming from that cloth. You could see, especially how his team opposes their will, from the physical standpoint. It's just what Elite looks like. So tip your hats off over there, to the coaching staff and to the Celtics. But now it's a different monster, and they're going through another tough road to try and get their ring in the finals, right? And let's talk about it from the Warriors standpoint, from the Warriors perspective first. Because we're gonna do a real breakdown. So let's go into the context, because I give you that context. Let's go straight right into it, boy. So like I was saying again, for the most part, when it comes to the Warriors and facing the Celtics, the Warriors again, from their perspective, they're someone or a team that has great ball movement. We already know who Stephen Clay is, right? We already know about the Splash Brothers, but they're deep. They have Wiggins as well. You can see that he can create one-on-one. He's like Harrison Barnes 2.0, more athletic, more of a bag, right? So when you look at it from the previous Warriors before KD came, this is where they're more identical in that aspect, but different at the same time, right? Because Wiggins getting a bucket, he's not KD, but again, he's Harrison Barnes 2.0, right? So when you look at it from that aspect, and has great defense, great length in terms of just his physical makeup, pause. And then, again, you add now Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole is like a combination of Steph and Clay, right? He has the athleticism and, and the quickness and, that they both don't even have, right? You just go into the room with quickness, breaking down defensive, just quick, change of directions, quick, just quickness, agility, right? He's just elite with that. He's in and out and he's just fast with it. Shot creating as well too, like Steph can do. Can come off screens, can pull like Clay can do, right? And like Steph can do. And then, just has great ball handling capability and just is a bucket getter. You already know. So, was obviously, was in the run-ins for most improved. So when you look at Jordan Poole, that's a four-headed monster in terms of just the offensive attack, right? How they come at you, right? And, you still have Draymond Green, who's the defensive anchor, who's gonna, kind of dictate what's going on defensively, right? And then as well as offensively, he's the playmaker. He's the head of the snake. He's the one who kind of everyone's coming off screens and he's kind of dictating, knowing who to hit. When it doesn't happen, they hit him, hits the relocate, just the kind of telepathy. Oh my God, I can't even say the word. You already know what I'm trying to say, right? Just kind of just how they just read each other. Him and Steph together. Like, I've always said that Draymond Green, when he's been inserted with Steph, he's been the one to take Steph to a whole new echelon, because the things that he does on the court and how he could read Steph and how they just, it's like, it's just like the twins, right? When you have twins, they kind of can read each other. When one's feeling one, the other one's feeling one. They're on a string, right? Continuity, like they basically can read each other and know each person's tendencies, know the movements before it happens. Like that kind of chemistry is something that is second to none. So when you look at it, that's a very drastic reason as to why Steph has become the whole new Steph that he's become. And I've always understood that Draymond is a key point to that, making Steph being able to not be a typical ball handling point guard. He's transitioned to now being a more hybrid, where obviously he's a point guard, but he's as well as a two. Reggie Miller 2.0, Ray Allen 2.0 in terms of just running off screens back and forth, and then has the capability in those screen action to now ball handle and like kill. So he's let Steph be, just free flowing and being himself to the max capacity that he could be. Right, it's been Draymond setting those screens, Draymond reading to relocate properly. Like without Draymond, Steph drastically his numbers drop. So when you look at it, like I understand the monster that the Warriors are in terms of just their offensive capabilities. Steve Kerr implementing that offense, putting Draymond at the helm. That's why his assists per game is obviously the most on the team and stuff like that. So, and it's been like that for years. So this is a whole new monster with the same, Warriors animal, right? Different animal, but same animal, but different beast. So when you look at it from that perspective, you can understand why the Warriors obviously could be the favorite to win the title. When you see them look how they were playing versus the Mavs, that free flowing movement offense, like their ball movement is predicated on their body movement, right? While the Celtics ball movement is predicated on the one-on-one capability of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, how they're able to break down their one-on-one matchup, and then through doubles, through going to the paint and creating havoc and drawing the defense. Now their ball movement stems from just the breakdown ability, right? So both have ball movement, but in different ways, right? And this is just a more technical aspect of just assessing what's actually transpiring, right, with these teams, because they're different and they kind of mirror each other, but differently, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, I understand the monster the Warriors are. I understand that their body movement is just contagious. Their body movement is something they have to pay attention to. One crack in a miscommunication on, we didn't switch this one. We thought we were going to switch in just literally half a second. All of a sudden, Clay's open. All of a sudden, Steph's open. All of a sudden, Poole's open. So you have to be, have defensive continuity to guard them. And the Warriors, with this style of play and this kind of core that they have, getting to the finals was never the issue for them. They always was able to get to the finals because that movement is just creating havoc. Then you add the transition threes. You add the fact that they have great defense as well too. Like it's a monster that is it's tough to deal with, right? That you have to be attentive for all 48 minutes. In fact, you have to be attentive for 50 minutes, even though the game is 48. That's how much you have to be locked in, right, to the details of guarding them, because it's not a one-on-one. It's a team continuity, team scheme, when it comes to guarding them, right? In terms of defensively. So, that's obviously the setup, and that's obviously the Warriors' perspective, understand the kind of dynamic and the beast that they are. But again, part of the context of rating or equating if this team is a bad matchup or this team versus this team is understanding how this team versus other teams look completely different than if this team is to face this monster. And then that's where we have to equate and we have to actually attribute, in terms of the defense capabilities of the Celtics. How are the Warriors going to look when they face the Celtics? They look like this versus the Mavs. You see how their mobility is unguardable. The Mavs don't have great defensive capabilities to even guard that, right? But how will the Warriors look with that monster when they now come to face the Celtics? And that's the kind of assessment I'm here to make. And that's kind of the context I'm here to point out. And just given that, that IQ, that's what I do. And when you look at it from that perspective, the Celtics defense is a different monster. The Celtics have great switchability 1 through 5, right? Obviously, if Robert Williams is not on the court, then you have Grant Williams at the capability to go small. They could put Grant at the 5 and guard Draymond if they want to, but you don't need to do that. You could put Horford because Horford moves and mobility is crazy at that age. He's still in shape and still can move athletically and have mobile feet and can slide his feet. You know what I mean? He could just move laterally, move at horizontally, verticality. He can do all of it. He can apply all of it. There's no weakness in him, right? So when you look at it from that perspective, the Celtics are going to switch everything. And what's the Warriors' weakness when they get to the finals? The best team of the East that's meeting them in the finals has great defensive capabilities in order to switch everything and force Steph to ISO. Force Clay to ISO. That slows the tempo. That puts them in a one-on-one scenario all the time, which they don't really want to do. If you look at their offense is body movement. When you have ball movement, sometimes you're going to have one-on-one scenarios. But when you have body movement is their ball movement. Their body movement is first, then the ball movement follows the body movement. So they don't want to ISO. Obviously, they'll ISO here and there, but for the most part, if you look at their offense, if you have to break it up in a percentage, 80% of their offense, 90% of their offense is body movement, and 10% of the offense would be one-on-one. So when you force them to flip it where 80% is now one-on-one and 20% they're going to get the ball movement from, a miscommunication, right? Obviously, when people are moving that much, sometimes you're going to go to that one guy and follow Steph, and then now Clay's open on the back door, Draymond's open on the back door, Eagle, whoever, Jordan Poole, right? Wiggins. It could be like that, but if you kind of contain that to where you miscommunicate only on 10% of the plays, 15% of the plays, even 20% of the plays. And in that 20% is also transitional plays, right? They get a stop, they score in transition, 3, whatever. It's hard to guard in transition. Anyone's hard to guard in transition, but the Warriors most definitely from 3 is hard to guard in transition. If you keep it to 20%, 10%, but 80%, 90% of the time you're in one-on-one half-court ISO. That cancels the Warriors offense. That's why they needed KD. That's why they needed a bucket getter. Just throw it to him when all this shit ain't working. Get me a bucket. Get me a bucket. Get me a bucket. Average 30 on 50% plus. Like, that's a different monster. And if you look at it, that's why they lost the 3-1 lead to the Cavs prior to KD coming there. Because they lacked getting a bucket. Steph lacked just killing my guy one-on-one on an island. I'm going to fry him. Unless it's a mismatch. And the mismatches aren't going to be, at least versus the Cavs, there was a Kevin Love. And even he was struggling to score on him. There was a Tristan Thompson. Even he was struggling to score on him. But for the most part, this Celtics defense, that Horford, isn't necessarily a mismatch. Yes, it is, but it's not really. He can move his feet. Even Robert Williams is moving his feet and then has the length. By the time you shoot, I'm going to block that. Grant Williams is not necessarily a mismatch. Marcus Smart, you already know it's your primary defender. You don't want him on you. You get Jaylen Brown on him. You're not cooking him. You get Tatum on him. You're not cooking him. So this is the context, and this is what is going to lead to my prediction. When I look at it, the Warriors offense that you see, I don't think we're going to see that versus Celtics, right? And this is kind of like, if you can see here, these clips that I played, yes, they had a matchup where the Celtics were their new Celtics, is a March 16 matchup that they had, and the Warriors were the new Warriors, and Draymond was just coming back. He was coming off the bench. Steph didn't play that much, only 14 minutes, but let's look at those 14 minutes. When Steph was playing, look at the switchability that they applied. You're going to have a mistake here and there. Tatum falls on the floor, whoever, then Clay scores a 3. But for the most part, the switchability, Horford's able to switch, everybody's able to switch. Even when they make a mistake, they're able to now read and react. And because you have defensive continuity and defensive players with IQ, when a guy makes a mistake, 2 go to 1, that guy makes up for him, rotate, like they covered a mistake. So when you look at it, the Celtics defense they have great defense capability. And from the Warriors standpoint, you're going to have to see Jordan Poole come up big. Andrew Wiggins come up big. Those are their 2 best one-on-one players. Clay is not their best one-on-one player. Steph is not their best one-on-one player. Now, Steph is their best player, obviously, but he plays in actions. He plays with screen. That's why he's going to get trapped more, hedge more. And people are going to think that, oh, he's getting doubled all the time. He's not getting doubled like that off the ball with no screen involved. Like, you're not running doubles at him because you believe your guys could guard him one-on-one. He's getting doubled in scenarios of screens and whatever. But for the most part, when you look at it, Steph's one-on-one, if he doesn't one-on-one unless it's a mismatch for the most part. And for the most part, he rarely ones-on-ones. And if he does one-on-one, it's transitional now, it's not really on one-on-one. But if you want him to, like, his one-on-one, he normally tries to do 1-2 move. It's cut off. Then he passes and tries to relocate. Like, that's how Steph plays for majority. So Jordan Poole is going to have to become up big. He's going to have to come up big time. Andrew Wiggins especially. He's going to have to try and be the KD of their team. Like, he's going to get a lot of one-on-one scenarios. Like, that's what they're going to force up. They're going to force them to do that. So when I look at that, that's not how the Warriors play. That's not when they're in their best. I don't think they have the one-on-one capabilities to just live in the one-on-one scenario every play and thrive. Where on the flip side, the Celtics, because, same thing. The Warriors are going to switch everything. The Celtics live in one-on-one. That's how they play. They have 2 guys who will break you down off one-on-one. They can score a bucket one-on-one, and then they'll help their role players will get looks off of them cooking off one-on-one, drawing attention, etc. It's similar to like Kawhi with the Raptors, right? It's similar to stuff like that. Like, you don't want to double them, but because they're cooking one-on-one now you double them. Marcus Smart gonna hit a spot up three. Horford will hit a spot up three. Robert Williams will get an alley. Grant Williams will hit a spot up three. Pritchard will hit a spot up three. Like, these guys could shoot perimeter shots. You've seen that in all these series they've had. They've shot pretty good. So when you look at it, and then they have bucket getters that with tough defense, they could hit tough shots. That's they live in that. That's how they play. So you force them to do that, that's what they want. Where on the other side, they don't want that. So when I look at that, the Celtics have the blueprint to win the ring. I just see it. You know what I mean? I think the Celtics will win in 6 games. When I just break down just the philosophies of both teams, I break down the offensive schemes of both teams. Obviously, the defensive schemes are very similar. When I just look at it, you know, I just can't see. Don't get it twisted. I think that the Warriors will win 2 games, you know, because, again, they might be hot. You know, the Celtics, you know, might be breaking out more often. It's hard sometimes to contain the mistakes to only 20% of the 100%. 10% of the 100% is hard to do that, right? You have to be moving so much, fatigue, all that stuff plays a factor. But when you switch everything, you're actually keeping your fatigue. But sometimes Marcus Smart might not want to switch in the situation. And then Horford is now going on him a random double that they didn't actually mean to. It was a miscommunication. Now Draymond slips. Like, there could be mistakes. Sometimes the games you're not moving, you know, on a defensive string. Sometimes that happens. You know, the Celtics do brain fart a lot of the times. You know what I'm saying? That's why they're in these 7-game situations that they normally shouldn't even have been in the last 2 rounds, right? Because they were favored and they actually had a run. You know, game 6, they had a time to close it versus the Heat. Game 6 as well too. No, game 5, they had a time to close it versus the Bucks, right? There's certain things that they just didn't do, right? So for the most part, the Celtics, I think that maybe their mistakes in terms of having poise, they didn't have poise in those moments in the earlier rounds for 2 straight rounds. Maybe now they're going to get back and now they're like, okay, you know, we can't do that mistake with these guys. So maybe they do get better because they've been through it, right? Maybe they do. Maybe instead of going 7 games again, they actually be smarter and they close it in 6. That's what I'm trusting. But again, whether it's Celtics in 6 or 7, I have Celtics winning the series. I understand the monster that the Warriors are, but you understand where my logic and where the breakdown, just understanding how the Warriors are going to look versus the Celtics. You can't focus on the Warriors on positives one way and don't focus on the Celtics positives, because their positives, the defensive continuity, and like I've said and like I've explained. So when I combine both positives, I can kind of see what's going to transpire, you know, from the Warriors standpoint and from the Celtics standpoint. So, you know, that's why I kind of look at the Celtics in 6. Tatum again, it just feels like his time. It just feels like his time. I understand that, you know, and this has been the problem with the Warriors, with their dynasty, which is why, again, they really needed KD. And I just think it's going to slap a lot of these fans full circle. Like, yes, oh my God, it looks bad on KD. The Warriors are back to the finals and they're always bringing up KD, always. But the Warriors never had a problem getting to the finals ever since 2015. Their problem was winning in the finals. And a lot of the people who are purists understand that the Warriors were not going to beat the Cavs in 2015 if Kyrie and Caleb weren't injured. So if you understand that, that's why they lost the 3-1 lead in 2016. I do understand the Draymond injury. I understand if Draymond wasn't injured, I think they would have won in game 5. I believe that. But Draymond being injured, if you're really that 73-9 team, shouldn't be enough to not win. And even if, let's say, you don't win game 5, how about game 6 though? How about game 7 though? And I understand there was other injuries too that played a part, Iguodala, etc. But Steph had opportunities to close. These weren't blowouts. These were close games. Steph had opportunities. Clay had opportunities. Why weren't they able to close and be able to thrive? Because they were forced to one-on-one and their palms were sweaty one-on-one, which is why Draymond had the most points in these big games. That should never happen. You get what I'm saying? So you got to understand the blueprint and the recipe to making them fail. One-on-one. Same thing versus the Rockets, one-on-one. If KD wasn't there, you know what I mean? Like, this forcing them to one-on-one is the blueprint. And the Cavs exposed that blueprint. So now you could look at it when they get to the finals without KD. They won twice with KD. Without him, they've lost twice and won once. So, and they ever since teams were fully healthy on the other end, they haven't won one without KD. Granted, they weren't healthy to one versus the Raptors, but you know what I mean? Getting to the finals is not the issue for them. It's when they're in the finals, the best team in the East is going to force you to switch. They're going to switch everything, force you to one-on-one, and what can you do? And I believe that the Warriors don't have those one-on-one guys like that Now this year they do have more one-on-one guys, Jordan Poole and Wiggins, but I don't think it's potent enough against this elite defense. I don't think it's potent enough. So for them, and Jordan Poole he's not there yet. Doesn't mean he can't. And that's gonna be crazy. If Jordan Poole is the one to carry and Wiggins is the one to carry in these big moments, then again Steph doesn't win Finals MVP. What's that gonna really say? So there's a lot of storylines, narratives, and things that could play out based on who wins and who loses and how a man's play. So there's a lot of things at stake, especially for Steph legacy-wise. There's a lot of things at stake because a lot of people understand that, he has no Finals MVP. If you're going to knock Kobe on not having certain Finals MVPs, Steph is the best player at that time. It's even different context. Kobe, at least, people thought that Shaq was the best player, and they felt that he was. And he had the best mismatch, so there's a reason if Kobe... But when Kobe was the main guy, in 2009, 2010, imagine he didn't win Finals MVP and Gasol did. What would you say? Steph has always been the main guy, and he has no Finals MVP. Don't do that. Don't do that. There has to be there has to be a knock for that. There has to be. I understand that he should have won it, not Iguodala. I will never co-sign that. But just like y'all do, y'all stat boys and y'all do, you go by the results, right? So isn't that the result? He don't have one. So don't pick and choose now. Don't move the goalposts. So if Steph is to win and not get Finals MVP, that's going to do a lot of damage. A lot of damage. And if he's to not win and there's no KD, it's going to do a lot of damage. So we got to understand that Steph has to really rise to the occasion here. But then this defense is different. It's a different monster. It's a different Warriors offensive monster, but it's a different defensive monster that they haven't seen in any of these rounds. Clay hasn't really been tested. He's been able to run free, even though I know he's come off injury and he's been playing the league and it's been Game 6 Clay, but he's free roaming. He hasn't been forced to really one-on-one like that, with great defense. This is the test he wants. Because Clay don't run from the smoke. He don't hide from the smoke. So I know he wants this test, but this test ain't the same test like the other tests you've had. This is a different monster. So again, I have the Celtics in six. We'll really see kind of who is who. I really want this. This is why I wanted the Celtics to meet the Warriors in the finals, because I really want the Warriors to get tested. Facing the Mavs, they can just attack Luka, free roam. They're not going to switch everything, make bare mistakes. Man, they're just killing. The Warriors offense is not tested. I want the Warriors offense to test where man switch everything. Now you have to read and react. Now you have to situationally move. Y'all that killed KD for one-on-one in. Y'all that killed KD, he didn't get double teamed. It was because Steph. Okay, let's see now. Because y'all really have revisionist memory. Y'all really don't understand. Y'all really don't understand. Recency bias. Y'all forget what actually happened. Y'all really forget. Let's see now. When man's are first to one-on-one, what do you do? I want to see. And let's look at it in real time. Because y'all really forgot what happened when KD was there. Y'all really forgot what happened the year before KD got. Y'all really forgot what really happened. When every big moment, when they switched everything, all the actions didn't work, now they throw it to KD, go get a bucket. That's what happened in every clutch scenario, in every big time. That's what happened. There was no Steph getting double. That's what's happened. That's why it's cap. That's why KD said it's cap, Draymond. Obviously, he's going to get doubled more because, again, what happened? Steph runs pick and roll all the time. Steph's in screens all the time. So you're going to trap him. He's going to get more traps. He's going to get more. It's not even doubles. He's going to get more blitzed. He's going to get blitzed more. He's going to get trapped more in those scenarios. He's not doubled without no screen, just recklessly doubled. No, Steph didn't get those. He didn't get those. Once in a blue moon in transition because everyone's not back yet. That don't count. I'm talking about in the half court setting. He did not get doubled. Don't do that. Don't do that. Draymond, don't do that. You know better. You're trying to finesse because, again, the truth is Steph don't have Finals MVP, so they're trying to find another way to attribute the impact that Steph has. We get Steph is elite. We understand he has impact. But don't act like he was just getting double teamed with KD there. Both didn't really get double that much. But who was scoring more? KD had more non-created buckets than Steph did. Don't do that. Steph wasn't ISO when he was forced to ISO, and then he moves out the way, go to the corner, and Clay go to the corner because all those actions are running around, not working. Then Draymond passed to KD, and what we do? Bucket time. Stop doing this. Y'all need to stop doing this. Stop capping. Don't do that. My fault. I went on a rant. Don't do that. Don't do it. My eyes work. I don't live in these narratives. I don't focus. I don't screenshot a play and show that two men's is client on. No, what's the context? Let the play play. Let the play play. What are y'all doing? You can screenshot any play and look and finesse. My brain works, yo. I'm not a bot. I'm not plugged in the matrix. My brain works. I see these plays. I understand what's happening. I seen it. My eyes work. My hoop IQ is high. You can't finesse me. Maybe them. Not me. Not me. I seen what happened. I seen Steph grab his shorts and he had nothing to do with that play. Why? Because Katie got the buckets. I seen that. Steph was ad-libbing. Steph was screaming, fam. He was in the corner. What are you talking about? Come on, don't do that. Don't do that. I seen Katie just ISO every big time moment in the second half. Kill, kill, kill. What are we talking about? Don't do that. Come on now. Don't do that. What percentage of the time? People are looking at the times he was doubled, okay? How about the times he wasn't doubled? What did he do? What did he do? Out of all the plays that Steph was involved, how many times he was doubled or trapped or whatever in those screen actions? Okay, but when he wasn't trapped in those screen actions and he was one-on-one, what did he do? Y'all gonna tell me? Y'all gonna show me? What did he do? Why would KD even be there if he was doing that? Wouldn't he won? Wouldn't they not come back down from 3-1? Caleb on him, ISO, no help. Like, come on, don't do that. And it's not a knock to Steph, it's just the truth. Y'all be mad because the truth is KD won the Finals MVP. He also was the one who was the best player in that scenario. He was the one who also, not just skill-wise, not just ability-wise, cooking one-on-one with no help, no need. We gave it to him in every momentum, big-time moment. They gave him the rock. I'm ready. It's more proper. I'm going to serve him like hot spaghetti. They gave him the rock, and it was his time to cook without Steph involved. And Steph watched from the corner. Clay watched from the corner, from the 45. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? And y'all want to cap and act like Steph was just creating offense for KD all the time because of one transition dunk. How many times did KD even dunk or get layups for his buckets? It's all half court. ISO, I might go cycle. Like, what are dog? Man's is cap. The stuff mans do just to protect somebody because you know you don't have the Finals MVP. So now you got to do all this, try and apply this fake context. Because the truth is, KD was the help. KD was the carrier. He wasn't the bus driver. He was the bus. He drove the bus. Don't let anyone fool you. Oh, he came to join the 73-9 team. Did that team window? Weren't they about to lose their window? Come on now. Come on now. Bruh, come on. This is what elite. Dog, my brain works, yo. Don't do that. My fault. I went on a rant. My bad. I apologize. I apologize. It's True Talks. It's True Talks. Sure, like to subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no jaw here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know. Spread the word. Again, Finals is today. Beautiful. Great to see. We gonna add to the archives to the footage. A lot of y'all gonna be surprised. A lot of y'all gonna be, a rude awakening is gonna happen for a lot of y'all that have been capping, that have forgot what happened. Y'all forgot what transpired. Y'all really forgot. And that shit was only what? 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever. Y'all are capping. We gonna really see. We gonna see. I already know what's gonna happen. I already know, because I don't lie. I'm not biased. The footage tells me everything. Don't do that. I was mad at KD when he went to Golden State, but I couldn't lie on what I saw. That's why my ratings went higher, because what? He carried with all the people hating on him and everybody wanting him to lose. He didn't just stand there and get buckets in the corner and catch and shoot and get a ring. No, they went to him. He took over the team. They didn't go to Steph. They didn't. Don't let them lie to you. Every big time bucket, they went to the new guy. You know, when you watch those movies, and there's a guy who's, you know, who he runs the town, he runs the school. They went to the new guy that just came there. They went to him. What does that tell you? The fact that they even went to him should tell you who is who. Y'all been here for how many years, and they didn't even go to you first? They went to me first. Come on, no, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. Like I said, it's True Talks. You already know. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no down here. There's no drop here. Like I said, you already know. I appreciate y'all. Spread the word. Tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. We really gonna get active. Watch when these. I'm gonna break down every game. You already know. But watch we really gonna get active because I'm gonna expose this finals is gonna expose a lot of things that y'all been holding on to and capping because y'all forgot. Y'all forgot, so mans can't really go and go and slow down every kill clip and watch every play and cut it up because again it's not play. That's what mans do when time is passed. They don't just read stats and let it, Now we here. I'ma show you. I'ma show, man. Don't worry. You already know. And I'm out, man. They play with the wrong one, fam. The wrong one.